everybody to move forward. I think when we work on this, when we publicize this, when we send the accounts of this rally out, we'll have a more effective message when folks can see how many folks are here. That not only there are women representing each one of the 50 states, but that there was a good group for this event, and really impressive, candidly, based on the fact that this is the second year that you've done this. So I appreciate you moving forward. I want to start, because I like to do things differently than other people do, by citing a quote from Gandhi, probably something that's never been done before at a Second Amendment rally. Man cannot be made good by law. Man cannot be made good by law. Now, when I swore an oath to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, as a member of the United States Army, I decided that there were some things in life, y'all come on forward, I can do this, but there were some things in life that were bigger than me, that all the opportunity that I had, having been fortunate enough to be among the 1 in 26 people born in the United States of America, stemmed from the sacrifice of women and men who had cried and sweated and bled before I ever set foot on this nation, on this nation's soil. And that it was my responsibility as a citizen in a free society to contribute to that legacy, to ensure that those who came after us enjoyed the very same right to an opportunity that we have. That we're not a perfect union, but a union constantly striving to be a more perfect union that's built upon the shoulders of those willing to potentially sacrifice to ensure those rights are handed down to posterity. And I will precede the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Certainly we all understand the Second Amendment, but I'll move back to the Declaration, which was the original document that our founders held forth to the world when establishing who we aspired to be as a people. When Thomas Jefferson drafted the words that we are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, and among those was liberty, it meant that we had the natural law freedoms given to us by God or by nature, depending upon your belief structure, that could not be ensured by a government, that could not be encroached upon by a government, but could only be protected by a government. And when a government infringed upon those rights, that it is the right of the people to assert those rights for themselves. No woman at the hands of a rapist should ever have to ask permission to use any means necessary to defend herself. The right to keep and bear arms is a woman's right. The laws restricting gun ownership are historically used as an object to oppress. The first gun control rights laws in America were precursors of Jim Crow. So the right to keep and bear arms is a civil right. No World War II veteran should fear for their safety in their homes at the hands of a lawless do-nothing who hasn't given as much as the person they victimized to perpetuate the legacy of this country. No American should fear anywhere when they're a law-abiding citizen for their safety upon the soil of the country into which they were born or immigrated, ever. Now, I want to be gentle, and I will say I congratulate my colleagues who, in the wake of this week's tragic events, came forth with pro-Second Amendment legislation. It is noteworthy, I think, that for the first time in my recollection, while we've seen calls for greater restrictions on our natural law right to defend ourselves, we've also seen pushback and calls for increased enhancements to our right to protect ourselves and those we love. I fear that it is because the targets were members of the august body that holds session behind us. But I would draw attention to, pardon me for self-aggrandizing, our bill, House Resolution 1537. It was drafted in January and filed on March 15th. And what it would do is allow every citizen of the United States who meets the criteria established by their respective state to carry a firearm to do so here in our nation's capital, the District of Columbia. it strikes me not only the constitutional purview of Congress to oversee the district, but also the responsibility of every legislator, not only to make sure that we are able to carry and defend ourselves and our families here in our nation's capital, but that each of our citizens, so qualified by the various states in a citizen legislature-led nation, should also have the right to do the very same. And so while I understand the drive to ensure that members of Congress can carry, I would reject the drive to ensure that members of Congress can carry if the citizens who they purport to lead don't also enjoy that same freedom.
Hear, hear.
Woo!
The bottom line is simple. In the federation that is the United States, under the concepts of law and liberty and who we are that we held forth to the world and that I hope we perpetually hold forth so that other people have the same rights and opportunities that we've enjoyed. The role of the federal government is not to ensure that we are protected from ourselves, but to ensure that we can protect ourselves from others. At the end of the day, I ask you to find the good pro-Second Amendment legislation and champion it. I ask you to raise your voices to your respective state delegations and ask them to join us as co-patrons on H.R. 1537. And I ask you to continue the peaceful fight to ensure that those who abide by the law never need be fearful for their own safety and the land that they've been blessed to either be born in or immigrate to. God bless every one of you. God bless America. God bless natural law rights that we all should share.
I'm telling you, I'm